Hi there, my spectacular speakers. Welcome back to Book, Banked, and On Stage. I'm Deborah Northcutt, and if you're here, you're probably tired of waiting for speaking opportunities to fall into your lap. Well, grab your coffee because today we're diving into something that's completely changed. Well, that can completely change your speaking game. Okay. Let me start with the question that might sting a little. How many of you are on LinkedIn, but basically using it like it's a fancy resume that just sits there collecting digital dust? Yeah, I see you nodding. Here's the thing, and this is going to sound crazy, but 87% of event planners are literally hunting for speakers on LinkedIn right now, like right this second. And yet most speakers are over there posting like the occasional motivational quote and wondering why your phones aren't ringing. I used to be one of those people. I had this perfectly polished LinkedIn profile that basically screamed, "Hey, I exist," instead of, "Hey, you need to hire me to help you with your speaking back and logistics." And then something happened that changed everything. Picture this. It's 2 a.m. and I'm in my pajamas scrolling LinkedIn. Don't judge me. And I see this notification. A speaker was tagged in a post about finding speakers for a leadership conference. A leadership conference with a $12,000 speaking fee. And this person had never even met this speaker in person. I'm sitting there in my pajamas thinking, wait, what just happened? This event planner had been following this speaker's content for months, saw her expertise in leadership development, and when they needed a speaker, her name immediately came to mind. That single LinkedIn strategy had just earned her more than some people make in 3 months. That's when it hit me. LinkedIn isn't just a networking tool. It's literally a speaking gig gold mine. But here's the kicker. Most speakers are completely missing the boat, treating LinkedIn like a Facebook with business cards when they should be treating it like their personal booking agent. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how to turn your LinkedIn profile into a magnet for those dream speaking opportunities. By the end of this episode, you'll know exactly how to position yourself so that event planners are seeking you out, not the other way around. Let's talk about why LinkedIn should be your best friend as a speaker. And I mean your best friend, like the friend who always has your back and introduces you to the right people. LinkedIn has over 900 million users, but here's the kicker. These aren't just random people posting vacation photos. We're talking about CEOs, conference organizers, training managers, and all these people who literally have speaker budgets burning holes in their pockets. You know what's wild? Most speakers think that they need to be on every platform: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, spreading themselves thinner than butter on toast. Meanwhile, the decision makers are hanging out on LinkedIn, sipping their morning coffee and thinking, man, I need a great speaker for our annual conference. Let me paint you a picture of what's actually happening on LinkedIn right now. While you're stressing about getting your Instagram aesthetic just right, there's a corporate training manager scrolling LinkedIn searching for a leadership speaker because they need someone for their Q3 all hands meeting. There's an association president looking for their speaker keynote for next year's conference. There's an HR director who just got budget approval for a workshop series and needs to find experts. These people aren't scrolling TikTok looking for speakers. They're not on Instagram hoping to stumble across their next keynote presenter. They're on LinkedIn, where professionals go to find other professionals. Let me tell you about my LinkedIn wake-up call. I used to post maybe once or twice a week, those generic Monday motivation posts that literally no one cares about. My profile was basically a glorified business card. I had maybe 500 connections, most of whom were in other professions who couldn't hire me anyway. Then I got serious about LinkedIn, and within 6 months, I had more speakers inquiring about my services than I had in the previous 2 years combined. But here's what really blew my mind. The quality of opportunities changed completely. Instead of helping speakers chase after $500 local chamber events, I was connecting my clients with Fortune 500 companies. Instead of my speakers begging to speak for free to gain experience, I was helping them negotiate $10,000 and $15,000 speaking fees. The difference? I stopped being a passive observer and started being an active authority in my space. I stopped thinking of LinkedIn as a place to network and started thinking of it as a place to demonstrate my expertise to the exact people who could hire me. And here's the beautiful thing about LinkedIn. It doesn't matter if you're just starting out or if you've been speaking for decades. It levels the playing field. You don't need a massive email list or a blue check mark on Twitter. You don't need to have spoken at TEDx or have a best-selling book. You just need to know how to position yourself as the expert you already are. But most speakers are completely missing this opportunity. They're either not on LinkedIn at all or they're using it wrong. They think LinkedIn is the about posting their speaking one sheet and waiting for people to call. That's like putting up a billboard in the middle of the desert and wondering why no one's stopping by. The speakers who are crushing it on LinkedIn understand that it's about relationship building, authority establishment, and strategic positioning. They know that every post, every comment, every connection request is an opportunity to demonstrate their expertise to someone who might need their services. All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty of making your LinkedIn profile actually work for you. Think of your profile as your 24/7 sales team. It needs to be working even when you're sleeping. Can we talk about your headline for a second? I see so many speakers with headlines like motivational speaker or leadership expert. That's like introducing yourself at a party as human person. It tells me absolutely nothing about why I should care. Your headline should make people stop scrolling and think, okay, I need to know more about this person. Instead of sales trainer, try something like, I help sales team increase revenue by 35% using the psychology of persuasion. See the difference? One is generic. The other makes me want to hear more. Here's the formula I teach my client. Who you help plus what problems you solve plus how you solve it plus what results you deliver. So instead of executive coach, you might write, I help C-suite executives eliminate decision fatigue through strategic thinking frameworks that increase productivity by 40%. The key is to be specific about the outcome you deliver. Event planners don't hire speakers because they're motivational or inspirational. They hire speakers because they need specific problems solved for their audiences. Your headline should make it crystal clear what problems you solve. Here's where most people completely mess up. They write these boring third-person descriptions that sound like they were written by a robot. John is a highly experienced professional with a passion for excellence. Please stop. Your about section should feel like you're sitting across from someone at coffee, telling them your story. Start with a problem your audience faces. Share how you solved it. Give them a taste of your personality. And for the love of all that's holy, write it in first person. Here's what I mean. You know that moment when your team is struggling to hit their targets and you're wondering if you're the problem? I've been there. And helping over 200 companies transform their sales culture, I've learned that it's not about working harder, it's about working smarter. Through my keynote presentations and workshops, I share the exact frameworks that have generated over 50 million in additional revenue for my clients. See how that feels different? It's personal, it's specific, and it immediately positions you as someone who gets results. Your About section should tell a story that your ideal client can see themselves in. But here's what most speakers miss. Your About section needs to clearly state that you're a speaker. I can't tell you how many profiles I see where someone is obviously an expert in their field, but I had to dig around to figure out if they actually speak. Make it obvious. Include phrases like keynote speaker, workshop facilitator, or conference presenter. Don't just list your day job and call it done. Create entries for your major speaking gigs. If you spoke at the National Marketing Convention to 800 professionals, that's going in your experience section. Include the audience size, the topic, and any cool outcomes. Now here's a template you can use. Keynote speaker, National Sales Conference 2024. Delivered the psychology of persuasion to 1,200 sales professionals. Post-event survey showed 94% of attendees plan to implement at least 3 strategies from the presentation. New speakers, listen up. Even if you only spoken at your local Rotary Club, that counts. The goal is to show that you have platform experience and that people trust you with their audiences. Create entries for workshops you facilitated, training programs you've delivered, or panel discussion you participated in. And here's a pro tip. If you're just starting out and don't have a lot of speaking experience yet, create entries for your expertise area. Leadership development consultant or digital marketing strategist can work as long as you clearly connected to your speaking topic. Social proof is everything in the speaking world. A glowing recommendation from an event planner is worth its weight in gold. After every speaking engagement, ask for a LinkedIn recommendation. Make it easy for them by sending a draft that they can modify. The best recommendations mention specific outcomes, your speaking style, and usually end with something like, I booked them again in a heartbeat. Those are the testimonials that close deals. But here's what most speakers don't realize. You can also ask clients, colleagues, or even audience members for recommendations. If someone sends you a note after a presentation saying how much they enjoyed it, ask them if you can use it for a LinkedIn recommendation. This is where the search engine optimization comes in. Add skills that event planners actually search for. Things like keynote speaking, leadership development, sales training, change management, team building, whatever aligns with your expertise. When event planners search for speakers, they often use LinkedIn's search function with these specific skill keywords. If you don't have the right skills listed, you won't show up in their search results. I can't believe I have to say this, but please use a professional headshot. Not a selfie, not a crop group photo from your cousin's wedding, not a picture of you in sunglasses at the beach. A professional headshot where you look approachable and confident. Event planners need to be able to envision you on their stage. Your photo should communicate that you're someone they'd be proud to have represent their organization. Now let's talk about content. The stuff that separates the speakers who get booked from the speakers who don't. Your content strategy should make people think, this person knows their stuff and I need them at my next event. Can we all agree to stop posting those generic motivational quotes with sunset backgrounds? Please, your content should position you as a thought leader, not a quote curator. I see speakers posting things like, success is not final. failure is not fatal, with a picture of a mountain. And I'm like, what does this tell me about your expertise? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Instead, you want to share insights from your expertise. Break down frameworks you teach. Give people a taste of what they get from your full presentation. Make them think. If this free content is this good, imagine what their paid presentation would be like. Let me share what could be working for you. I post about 3 times a week, and each post serves a specific purpose. I follow what I call the EIC formula: educate, inspire, challenge. Sometimes I educate, sharing behind the scene moments from my client speaking engagements with actual insights, like just got off the phone with a client who told me a CEO came up to her after her presentation yesterday and said her framework saved his company $2 million last quarter. Here's what she shared. Then I break down the framework in simple terms. Other times, I inspire, sharing client success stories or breakthrough moments. Got this message from one of my speakers after last month's leadership conference. And then I share how their content actually impacted someone's life or career. And sometimes I challenge conventional thinking in the speaking industry. These posts get people talking and controversy, when done respectfully, gets massive engagement. Everyone says speakers should start with why, but I think that's completely backwards for event planners. Here's what they should lead with instead: the behind the scenes post. People love seeing what happens behind the curtain. Share photos from your speaking engagements, but don't just post a stage selfie. Share what you learned, what surprised you, or a question someone asked that made you think. The framework breakdown. Take something you teach in your presentations and break it down into a simple LinkedIn post. Use numbered lists, bullet points, clear takeaways. Give people actionable advice they can implement immediately. Challenge common wisdom in your industry. Everyone says networking is about meeting new people, but I think that's completely wrong. Here's what networking should really be about. These posts get shared and commented on like crazy. With permission, share how your speaking or consulting work helped someone or some organization achieve specific results. This demonstrates real-world impact and gives event planners confidence that you deliver results. Share your take on trends, news, or developments in your field. This positions you as someone who's paying attention and has valuable perspectives to share. You know what killed my momentum for years? Perfectionism. I spent hours crafting the perfect post, hours going on Canva, getting the perfect graphic, then posting it once a week. Meanwhile, speakers who posted good content consistently were getting all the opportunities, and the ones working with me were landing the premium gigs. Those solid posts per week beat one perfect post every 2 weeks. LinkedIn rewards consistency and engagement, not perfectionism. Your audience would rather see you show up regularly with helpful content than occasionally with something earth-shattering. And here's the secret. Some of my most engaged with posts were the ones I wrote quickly and authentically, the ones where I just shared a genuine insight or experience without overthinking it. The best times to post on LinkedIn are typically Tuesday through Thursday between 8 to 10 a.m. and 12 to 2 p.m. But honestly, consistency matters more than perfect timing. Pick the times that work for your schedule and stick with them. Creating content is only half the battle. You need to be engaged with other people's content too. I spend about 15 minutes every morning commenting on posts from event planners, industry leaders, and potential clients. But here's the key. Add value with your comments. Don't just say, great post. Share an insight, ask a thoughtful question, or relate it to your experience. These meaningful interactions keep you visible and often lead to speaking inquiries. I actually track my engagement because it's been so valuable. I have a simple spreadsheet where I note when I comment on someone's post and what kind of response I get in return. You'd be amazed how many speaking opportunities you can get from a thoughtful comment on someone's LinkedIn post. Let's talk about networking, but not the gross, slimy kind where you're just trying to sell something. I'm talking about real relationship building that leads to speaking opportunities. Your ideal connections aren't just random people in your industry. You want event planners, conference organizers, training managers, association executives, meeting planners, the people who actually have speaker budgets and make hiring decisions. Use LinkedIn search like a detective. Search for titles like event manager, conference director, learning and development director, training manager, association executive. Look for people who post about events or share speaker related content. But here's where most people mess up. They try to connect with everyone at once. That's like trying to water the entire garden with a fire hose. You'll make a mess and nothing will actually grow. Instead, you want to focus on 5 to 10 high quality connections per week. Research them, understand their role. See what kind of events they organize. Quality over quantity always. Please stop sending those generics. I like to add you to my professional network requests. They're the LinkedIn equivalent of spam, and they get ignored and deleted. Personalize every connection request. Reference something from their profile, a mutual connection, or a recent post they shares. Here's what I might send. Hi, Jennifer. I saw your post about planning the upcoming sales conference in Chicago. I'm a sales performance speaker who's worked with teams at Microsoft and Adobe. Would love to connect and learn more about your event planning process. That message does several things. It shows I actually looked at her profile. It positions me as a relevant to work for her to work, and it opens the door for a conversation about her upcoming event. Here's where most people mess up. They connect with someone and immediately pitch their services. That's like asking someone to marry you on the first date. It's awkward and it doesn't work. After someone accepts your connection request, send a brief thank you message. Something like, thanks for connecting, Jennifer. I'm looking forward to seeing your updates about the conference planning world. Always interested to learn about what makes events successful. Then, and this is crucial, actually engage with their content. Like their posts. Leave thoughtful comments. Share their content when it's relevant. Build an actual relationship before you ever mention your speaking services. When they post about looking for speakers or announce an upcoming event, that's when you can reach out with a relevant offer. But by then, you're not a stranger trying to sell them something. You're a connection who's been adding value to their network. Other speakers can be your best source of referrals. I know, it sounds counterintuitive. Aren't other speakers your competition? Here's the thing. Speakers get opportunities they can't take all the time. Wrong dates, wrong topics, wrong fee structure, and ethical speakers want to help event planners find great alternatives. You should be building relationship with speakers in complementary areas, but people who serve similar audiences with different expertise. Speakers refer business to each other regularly. Some of your best engagements could come from other speakers. How do you build these relationships? You want to engage with their content, attend their presentations when possible, and look for opportunities to refer business to them first. The law of reciprocity is powerful. Join LinkedIn groups where your ideal client hangs out industry-specific groups, meeting planner communities, professional development groups. These are gold mines if you know how to use them right. I'm in several meeting planner groups, and I regularly see posts like looking for a speaker on leadership for our March event or need recommendations for a sales training workshop facilitator. These are literally speaking opportunities being posted in real time. But here's the key. Don't just join groups to promote yourself. Add value to the discussions, answer questions, share insights, help solve problems. When you establish yourself as a valuable group member, people start paying attention to your expertise. Share valuable content in these groups, but make sure it's truly valuable, not just promotional. The best approach is to share insights or frameworks that demonstrate your expertise without being salesy. I have a simple system for network building. Every Monday, I identify 10 new people I want to connect with. Throughout the week, I send personalized connection requests. I track who accepts, who doesn't respond, and what type of message gets the best response rates. It sounds mechanical, but relationship building requires intentionality. You can't just hope that the right people will find you. You need to actively build relationships with people who can hire you or refer you to those who can. All right. Let's talk about the money part, actually converting all this LinkedIn activity into paid speaking gigs. When someone's been engaging with your content regularly, you can make a soft approach. Share news about a recent speaking engagement or casually mention you're booking for next quarter. It plants the seeds without being pushy. Something like, just finished an amazing keynote for the National Association of Marketing Professionals. Always energizing to share the stage with such engaged audiences. Speaking of which, I'm starting to book dates for Q3 2025. Reach out if your organization is planning any leadership development events. This approach works because it's not a direct pitch. You're sharing news and casually mentioning availability. People who are interested will reach out, and those who aren't won't feel pressured to reach out. Sometimes the best approach is offering something valuable first, a free resource, insights about their industry, or even a mini workshop for their team. This often opens the door to paid opportunities. I once connected with a training director at a tech company. Instead of pitching my speaking services immediately, I sent her a case study about how one of my clients had helped a similar company increase employee engagement. She was so impressed that she asked if I had a speaker who could do a pilot workshop for her team. That pilot workshop turned into a six-figure training contract for my client. The key is making the value relevant to their specific situation. Don't send generic resources. Send something that shows you understand their challenges and have solutions. If someone posts about needing speakers, don't be shy. Send a professional message offering your services. Include relevant credentials and make it easy for them to say yes. Here's a template that can work well for you. Hi, Kathy. I saw your post about looking for a leadership speaker for your annual conference. I specialize in helping mid-level managers develop executive presence and have spoken at similar conferences for Microsoft. I'd love to send you my speaker one sheet and discuss how I might be a fit for your event. What's the best way to get that information to you? This message is direct, but not pushy. It shows you understand their need, positions your relevance, and makes it easy for them to take the next step. When someone shows interest, get the conversation to email or phone fast. LinkedIn messages get buried, and you want to have a real discussion about their needs and how you can help. You want to say something like, This sounds like a great opportunity. I'd love to learn more about your event and share how I might be able to help. What's the best email to send you my information? Or would you prefer to jump on a quick call this week? Not everyone will respond to your first message, and that's okay. But don't give up after one attempt. You should be following up twice after your initial outreach, once after a week, and then once after a month has passed. The key is adding value with each follow up. Share a new piece of content, mention a relevant success story, or reference something new that's happened in their industry. I track connection acceptance rates, content engagement, speaking inquiries for my clients, and actual bookings I help facilitate. This helps me see what's working and what needs adjustment. For example, I noticed that my connection requests to association executives have a much higher acceptance rate than those to corporate training managers. This insight helped me focus my networking efforts more effectively to benefit my speaker clients. The real magic happens when you stop thinking about LinkedIn as a place to post and start thinking about it as a place to build relationships and demonstrate your expertise. Now, before we wrap up, let me share some bonus tips and common mistakes I see speakers making on LinkedIn. Mistake number 1, posting and ghosting. So many speakers post content and then disappear. They don't respond to comments. They don't engage with other people's content, and they just post and vanish. LinkedIn is a social platform. The magic happens in the interaction, not just the post. Mistake number 2, making everything about them. Your content shouldn't always be about you and your achievements. Share insights. Help your audience solve problems. Highlight other people's successes. The best speakers on LinkedIn make their audience the hero of the story. Mistake number 4, ignoring analytics. LinkedIn gives you great analytics about your content performance. Use them. See which post gets the most engagement. What types of content resonates with your audience when your followers are most active. Let the data guide your strategy. Now here's a bonus tip. Use LinkedIn events. If you're hosting a workshop, webinar, or speaking at a public event, create a LinkedIn event. This is a great way to get visibility and show that you're actively speaking. And here's another bonus tip. LinkedIn Live. If you have access to LinkedIn Live, use it. Going live on LinkedIn gets incredible organic reach. You can do mini workshops, Q&A sessions, or behind the scenes content from speaking events. Okay, friends, let's wrap this up with your action plans. LinkedIn success for speakers comes down to 3 things: positioning yourself as an expert worth booking, creating content that showcases your expertise consistently, and building real relationships with the right people. Here's what I want you to do this week. First, rewrite your LinkedIn headline using the formula we talked about earlier today. Make it benefit driven and specific to the outcomes you deliver. Then update your about section to tell your story in the first person. Make it conversational and results focused. And then finally, commit to posting valuable content 3 times this week and spend 15 minutes daily engaging with posts from your ideal clients. Remember, every expert was once a beginner, and every speaking opportunity starts with someone knowing you exist and seeing you as the authority that you are. LinkedIn is your platform to make that happen, but only if you use it strategically. Don't just be another speaker with a LinkedIn profile. Be the speaker that event planners actively seek out because of how you show up on LinkedIn. Thanks for hanging out with me today on Booked, Banked, and On Stage. If this episode helped you, please leave a 5-star review and share it with another speaker who needs to hear this. Your reviews help other speakers find the show, and honestly, they make my day. Until next time, keep building your authority, keep serving your audience, and keep getting booked, banked, and on stage.